writing, there's paintings were painted with torches of light, and there are animals, and there are figures of spears and so forth. And those images are still there. So we started making art about 25,000 years ago. Now the Egyptians made pyramids only about 4,000 years ago. So anyway, I just want to make this little point here. So it's 25,000 years ago. And I've just been eating a woolly mammoth. I had a big old greasy piece, and it was a kind of a mess, and I ended up with a greasy hand. So I'm looking around. I'm in a cave now. Also realized they didn't have clothing 25,000 years ago. Nothing like we have. There were skins and maybe even rabbit skins sewed together, maybe a buffalo fur or something like that. Anyway, I just finished my woolly mammoth piece of meat. I'm looking here and I'm trying to put it in. So I'm sitting, the fire is going out. So I have some ashes here that I reached down and to push myself up. I don't know how this will work. And I reach up and take the lights off. And I make an imprint of my hand. You see that? Then all of a sudden I'm looking at my hand, I'm looking at the imprint here, and then I'm realizing that what I have is an image of my hand. And the other people around me were saying, they begin to look at that, and then they get kind of excited, and their hands are greasy too. So the first thing you know, you have a party going on, they're putting their hands on the wall. Those imprints are still there, you know. So we started making art at least 25,000 years ago, and we're still doing it. And we've made lines in the sand with our fingers, you know. We've done lots of different things. I have to write this off just a minute. When you even know well, one thing I wanted to make a point. When I was in the 3rd grade, I had a buddy. His name was Bob Lofgren. He's deceased now. But Bob Lofgren was the class artist. He could draw horses, and everybody was amazed. If the teacher wanted a horse drawn on the board or a mural or something, he was called out to do the art. And I always thought that art was kind of like something you were God blessed or something to be an artist. Anyway, then I went off to war, and I came back, and I was going to go into industrial design because I always liked to whirl pieces. Some of my first art pieces were I call them Indian knives. I would take a piece of board and whirl it, and make a company. It was just good. But anyway, what I'm saying is, I began to realize in art school that art is work. It's just work. You have to work. I still try to paint about an hour or 2 a day, even in Denver now. And I have a little space here, and I call it the veranda. And I'll have a board here, and I'll have a little easel there. And I watch the people go by walking their dogs or right outside there. Anyway, but I will work on that for maybe even an hour or 2 a day. So what I'm saying, if you're interested in art, and part of the secret is just get out your brushes, your pencils, and try to work a little bit every day. Follow me? I think that's important. The other thing I want to point out is that evolution is very smart. Evolution doesn't make us all look alike or all think alike. Evolution makes us, every one of us have a different mechanism in our heads. And even when we walk through here, when we're having different thoughts about things and so forth. But also, evolution says, evolution says we have problems. We have COVID, bacteria or whatever. How do we get rid of it? If you just have one type of thinking, that's not good. If you have lots of different types of thinking, that's positive. So every one of you has a different lookout, different perspective on what's going on in life. Follow me? Remember to think about that. Respect your own ideas and so forth. And pay attention to your teachers, pay attention to your parents and so forth. See if I get any other great ideas here. Well, one thing I wanted to mention right first, paint. Paint. This is like I showed you here, is something oily usually. I've used butter here, and I didn't make a good impression as I wanted to, but you have a binder. Butter would be the binder in this case, or linseed oil, and then you have a pigment. The pigment could be everything from charcoal to chalk or whatever. So anytime you get a binder and pigment together, you have some kind of a paint. They used to make paint out of milk and I think red lead or something to make barns with. Anyway, but we've used a lot of different types of binders and different types of pigments. And if you were in nature, not in a modern setting, you would have to go a long way to find red. You know, red just doesn't have it, maybe in a flower or something, but red just doesn't have it, or even blue. You might find it in a feather, the bird is necessary. But paint or colors are very limited in nature. A lot of green, you know. But anyway, I want to make that point about first. The other thing too I want to mention for time. I've got things going on in my head. And if I start out here, and make a shape. Now what I've done is I want to call your attention to this. That's a frame that's looking at it. I've established a location, however. Then if it's like you're looking out the window right there. You have a frame around there, so you even have a scene out there. And you move your head a little bit, and that scene changes. Anyway, I've got a field here. This field should also be the side of a building, but in this case, I've decided to do it. Now so this is white space. I introduced a little something in here. Now, I almost started a conversation because that becomes a point. You look at this, that's the point. You look at that. Now I have another little space starting coming in here. Now these begin to have almost like a conversation. This is related to that. Now whether if I make The other thing I learned for quick write, for instance, there's that circle. And square. Which of these two, which would you say was feminine, which would be masculine? Which, is this feminine or is this masculine? Is this masculine or feminine? Any idea? What would you say? Which is, what is this? I can't hear you. Feminine. Feminine? You said feminine? Good, I think it's better. Feminine is ladies and women, mothers are round. Daddies are usually kind of square and more, you know. But that's kind of where you start. The other thing I want to circulate, I'm not sure if they're looking at my markers. If I make a mark here, and a mark here, which is the more active of the two marks? This is good. Yeah. That's upright. We're upright right now. You get horizontal, we're either sleeping or dead. This is upright. Anyway, this is part of a vocabulary that we developed early in our lives. That has something to say. That has something to say. This has something to say. This is larger, smaller. So anyway, the other thing now, if I've got, see, I've got, this is different group. I've got red, I've got that. Now these two, which is more active, I think.
One laying down.
The red part, yeah. Well, this is where we get into the red is, in this case, is horizontal, which is called always said that was inactive dead. Then we have upright figures, but we have to, you know, whenever we look at the picture, that's kind of part of what we're kind of doing is anyway, even back to this, you start, well, coming around here. I want to just make this point right where it's like, here we go. And we can put a table in there. You can see some of these have tables. I just read the picture, I didn't realize it. And you put legs on the table. Legs on the table. You can put a picture on, like this. And you can put a floor like this, maybe a painting on the wall. Now, you can go to your copier and make about 25 of these, just this right here. You understand? Just 35, this is what images are. Now you could, now this is where you go to work. Let's take this. I'm using, I don't have enough color here to develop you get the idea. So I'll try, and then 25 variations on this. 25 variations. In this case, I'll make, like you can make a picture here, and yellow or whatever, I'm running out. Anyway, but that would be a very strenuous exercise. You learn a lot. I've also told my students to do certain, I say, make it ugly picture. Try to make it ugly picture. Mix colors together that you don't think will look very good. That's how you push what you're doing. Anyhow, well, I just want to make this, you could work on this little framework for maybe 10 years already. You didn't have a whole lot of variation. You'd say, oh, okay, the other thing is you say, I'm going to see what I can do with just these two colors. I'm going to work maybe 3 or 4 days just using these colors, you know, just to see how far it can go. Does that make sense? Okay, let me focus. Quick thought, we can take this, even this. As you notice, I use a few cats in my picture. If I have this going on, and then over here someplace I just showed you instead of a cat. Cats are very easy to draw. Then the cat becomes the center of the painting almost. You look at the cat, even though I made a red cat, but the cat is more important than these two. One thing, again, the cat is a pet. It has a personality and the way. So try to remember that. Or if I even put a picture, I'll start drawing something here and put something out the picture. So you do a lot of gesture drawing, or you start out with something like this, and in other words, it's like my friend who used to draw horses. I don't practice it, but if I started out a horse, I would get a head, maybe ears. Horses are kind of full in here. Maybe kind of scribble a horse. Anyway, the idea. My son Scott, where is he? Yes. He's back there. Somebody said, what does your daddy teach? And Scott said he teaches people to write a man. To write a man. In other words, not you can write a book, but this is an effect, or that's writing a man. I thought that's very good. Anyway, I hope you do this kind of drawing, and you can even make, it doesn't take very much to get an idea going, A person walking, running. In art school, we did pages and pages of just quick drawings, sometimes 30-second drawings. We have a model over here, sometimes it's clothes on, sometimes not clothes on. Anyway, but we drew pages of pages. So what we're trying to train is our minds. We look at an arm, or we're trying to get that in the right spots. Any questions you'd like to ask about any painting? Yes.
Which is your favorite?
My favorite? My undergraduate degree was in painting, and so I do like painting. Then my master's was more in sculpture, so these are my these are my sculpture pieces. Most of these paintings you see on the walls here, I probably did in the last 10 years. After I retired, I had lots more time to work, and anyway, I enjoyed it. Well, the other thing I really like to do is collage. Collage is a collection. That's a French word for collection. So I like to put together things. Chad, go ahead and put this up here. My wife and I were in New York for 2 months, and we were on, I forget what we were. But there's a little delicatessen not too far from me. We were in there one day and buying something, probably a sticky bun or something. And there was a young fellow, he had a hard hat on and a safety vest, all that. He had these lists in his hand, and the shirt was filling it. Ralph wanted 2 hard-boiled eggs. Tammy wanted BBC on a wrap. Tom wants a plate roll. Kevin wants 2 hard-boiled eggs. Do not toast. Jesse wants 2 eggs over easy. Anyway, so he had his sacks full of stuff, and he left these 2 pieces on the counter, and I said, he's gone. His name was Zach. She said, Zach. So that's why it's called Zach's list. Anyway, so Zach's leaving those pieces on. I said, what are you going to do with those? She looked surprised. Did you want them? I said, yeah. So these are his list. So this is again, in other words, that was an experience that I thought this needs to be saved. You know, it's like the poster, look, mirror, look. And so this, by the way, is a pants leg. When I'm painting, I'm sitting here and all kind of paint, and I sometimes wipe my fingers here. Sometimes I use a lot of the other end of the brush, sometimes to work in the wet paint. I like to scratch around in the drawing. Okay. So anyway, this is actually my right leg of my pants. This is also what's disturbing. Sometimes my pants leg is better than the painting I'm working on. Then this is some other little stuff I just kind of added. I have random color, right leg and paint pen. Then there's a West End Avenue, West 69. Anyway, so that's what this is about. This is the other little thing. You come up here and you look at this little thing and say, what is that? I want to see you raise that up, and you got some other little things that are right there. So I like to have a participation if possible. In other words, something you can mess with. I want to be surprised when you see that, you know. That's part of a bandana right there. These are also little pieces of this found craft like this. Okay, any other questions? And I will follow you with orders. Anybody? Yes.
Which piece took you the longest to make?
How big?
Which piece took you the longest to make?
Oh, which piece? And you be a painting? Be a painting?
Or sculpture, maybe talk about the process.
Well, I will sometimes work on 3 or 4 paintings. I'll work on something for maybe 2 days or a day, and then so I'll set it aside, and then let it stop your work on another one. I can sometimes paint. If if I've got a good idea in my head, I just start putting it down, you know. And then one color, the other way. But it's hard to say, to give you a definite time. Sculpture, these are welded and everything. So that's more work in a way. This way, if any of you are interested in sculpture, this piece I made in my backyard. I dug a little trench like this, and it was kind of clay soil, damp, and I kind of shaped that. And I think I put a piece of plastic down so it wouldn't. Then I poured concrete, a big set of concrete. 1 part of cement, about 6 parts of sand. That makes a pretty good thing. Then while this is the ground now, then while it's dry, I put in these other pieces, topped them up so they stay. Once the concrete hardens, so I think that's very far out of the edge. But sometimes things are very comfortable and, you know, sometimes you really, you're expecting. Anyhow, this is, you can't see it too well here. This is an idea I'm working on. Started out. Started out with an idea. This is a little bit like a toy. This just happens to be cardboard, by the way. But you could make this, you could make this probably out of concrete if you wanted. It'd be a big massive thing. A woolly mammoth, this looks above the elephant here. A woolly mammoth is probably about 10 foot high and a big woolly mass. I think they're very slow moving. That's probably why we don't see the woolly mammoth. I think we, as primitive people, we probably we killed woolly mammoths because they're easy to kill. Anyway, that's why they're disappeared now. But anyway, this is the first story. Then the next one here. I begin to get the idea of a woolly mammoth has great tusks. I even had, I'm still thinking small, and this could be the wool. This might even be reinforcing rod or rusty rod. And then the next piece. Now this is more like a woolly mammoth. They begin the tusks begin to get more elaborate, and they also had a fuzzy top knot here. Then I took this to a metal piece, and this next one is steel. You can look at it later if you steel. The silk is put together the same way. Now then, what I would like to see somebody, or if we can find somebody that's interested in this, in the museum, you make a bull elephant. She would be maybe 10 foot high. Then the mammoth elephant, or the woolly mammoth, she would be a little shorter. Then we have a couple of juveniles following her. They could be off on the hillside someplace. Because woolly mammoths actually were in this area. You know, they still find bones and everything. The other interesting thing, the glaciers are melting, and occasionally they find where a woolly mammoth centuries ago got trapped in the snowstorm or fell in a crevasse on a glacier. Now the glaciers are melting, so all of a sudden we have these woolly mammoths are appearing in a big, they're thawing out, and some of them still have fur on them. They even have one about this size, it was a juvenile, and it's in a museum now. I don't know whether it's in a refrigerator or not. Maybe they thawed it out. But they actually found a frozen mammoth bone like this in there.
Well, Bob, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. Don't mean to interrupt, but we've got to head back here so we can
Okay,
have our
good.
lunch.